Hello everyone and welcome back to another full English grammar in use video with Roja's English. I am Jasmine and today I'm going to teach you all about past simple tense. So let's get started. Past simple tense is one of the most important tenses in English, which is often used and is simple and easy to understand and learn. When do we use past simple tense? In one of these situations. When we want to talk about something that happened in the past and it's finished, it's over, it's done. So it both started and finished in the past. We can use it when we want to talk about a single completed action or a series of actions that happened in the past. So for example, I talked to him last night. He called me yesterday. We often use these key words. Last year, last week, last night, yesterday, in the past, before, 2 hours ago, a few hours ago, a few years ago, 2 years ago, or a long time ago. And we can use it when we want to talk about multiple actions that happened in order. For example, it's 2 o'clock and I want to talk about my morning and how it passed. I woke up at 7 but got up at 8. Then I brushed my teeth, I had my breakfast, and then I checked my emails and... So, several things happened after one another in the past. And as you see, we use these words like then, and, next, after to link these actions together and put them in an order. We can use simple past when we want to talk about past repeated actions, things that happened in the past repeatedly. For example, when I was a child, my sister and I went out to play with other children on the street. However, would and used to can be used in this situation, but we'll talk about them later. When we want to talk about long-term situations in the past that are no longer true. For example, she worked there for 5 years, but then she quit her job. People back then didn't know much about art and science. Again, used to can be used in this situation, but we'll talk about it later. Now, let's get to the structure. We have affirmative, negative, and question form. For the affirmative, we've got subject plus past simple form of the verb. Verbs in the second or past simple form are regular and irregular. They are regular when we only add ed to the end of the verb. Worked, loved, liked, called. They are all regular verbs. For irregular verbs, we do not add ed. The verb actually changes. It can change slightly, completely, or remain unchanged. The thing about irregular verbs is that you have to learn them. You have to memorize them. You can find the irregular verbs list on the last pages of textbooks, or you can always search for irregular verbs list on the internet. But the good thing about past simple tense is that we use the same verb for all subjects. For example, I worked, you worked, we worked, they worked, she worked, he worked, it worked, except for to be verbs. So for to be verbs, we use was for first and third person singular and we use were for the plural subjects. For example, I was happy, she was happy, he was happy, it was happy, you were happy, we were happy, they were happy. For the negative form, we use the helping verb did plus not, and the main verb remains unchanged. So we have subject plus did plus not plus the base form of the verb. For example, I did not work. I did not talk. Subject plus did not plus the base form of the verb. Again, we can use the contraction form. Didn't. So did plus not, didn't. I can say didn't. I didn't talk. And it's the same for all the subjects. So, I didn't talk. You didn't talk. We didn't talk. They didn't talk. She didn't talk. He didn't talk. It didn't talk. And for the to be verb in the negative form, we have was not, were not. And we can use the contraction form wasn't, weren't. So for example, I wasn't mad. I was upset. Or you weren't angry. They weren't happy. For the question form, we have yes or no questions, WH questions. For the yes or no question, we bring did or didn't before the subject. And we use the base form of the verb. Did or didn't plus subject plus the base form of the verb. For example, did you go there last week? Did she see you? Did they say anything? Didn't he come? Didn't I tell you? And for the to be verb in the question form, we bring was or were, wasn't or weren't before the subject. So for example, was he there? Were we happy? Weren't you angry? How to answer to these yes or no questions. Did you see her? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Did he try? Yes, he did. No, he didn't. So we just bring that did or didn't after the subject. And we do not use contraction for the yes answers. We only use it for the no answers. And for the WH questions, we only add a WH question word before the yes or no question. For example, what did you do? I didn't do anything. Where did she go? She went in that direction, I think. When did that happen? It happened a few days ago. Why did you leave? I never left. So, as you see, go and leave are irregular verbs. And we have went for the past simple form of go and left for the past simple form of leave. Now let's get to extra notes you need to know. Let's see how the spelling and the pronunciation changes when we add ed to a regular verb. There are many verbs that we only need to add ed. For example, walk, walked, visit, visited, help, helped. There are some verbs that already end in e, so we just add d. Change, changed, argue, argued, decide, decided. So we just add a d. There are some verbs that end in vi. When we want to add ed, we remove that vi and we add ied. Study, studied, try, tried, cry, cried. So we remove that vi and we add ied. And then we have a one-syllable verbs that end in consonant, vowel, consonant. We double the last letter, then we add ed. For example, drop, dropped, hug, hugged, clap, clapped. So they are one syllable and they all end in consonant, vowel, consonant. We double the last letter and then we add ed. When we add ed, we get three different pronunciation. T, d, id. When the verb ends in k, s, p, f, ch, and sh, and we add ed, it sounds like t. For example, asked, kissed, typed, watched, pushed, coughed. When the verb ends in T or D and we add ed, it sounds like ed. For example, accepted, attended, invited, sounded, tested, added, and the rest will just sound like d. For example, answered, burned, lived, failed, replied. Let me tell you something. Some verbs that end in ed might be spelled with ed or t, and t is more common in British English. For example, learn can be both learned and learnt is used in British English. Dream, dreamed, dreamt, burn, burned, burnt, kneel, kneeled, knelt, smell, smelled, smelt. Now let's practice. Okay, so it said last night. We know it's a past simple tense. He slept last night. Sleep is an irregular verb and you need to learn it. The second one is a question form, so we add a did, and the main verb remains unchanged. Why did you come? The third one is a negative sentence, so we say I didn't or I did not say a word. And then we have, we ate something for dinner. Eat is another irregular verb that can be found in the irregular verbs list. Now, let's correct the mistakes. I didn't saw that coming. It's a negative sentence, so saw cannot be accepted. It should be the base form of the verb, see. Why does she fail her exam? It's a question sentence and it should be in past simple tense. So does is wrong. It's did. And failed, we don't need to add any ed because it should be the base form of the verb. Again, it's a question form. We do not need the past form of the main verb. It should be the base form. He wrote the answers. It doesn't seem wrong, does it? But it is, because write is an irregular verb and we shouldn't add ed. We have to learn it. It's wrote. They searched him but didn't find anything. First search is a regular verb, but it does not end in t. It sounds like t, but does not end in t. The right spelling is ed, searched, but the pronunciation is searched. Didn't found. It's a negative sentence. We already have didn't, so we no longer need the main verb to be in past tense. So we say didn't find. So remember, this tense is a basic but a very important tense to learn. Make sure to learn the past tense form of irregular verbs and practice this grammar by making more sentences of your own. Keep a journal, write about your day and how it went. Try to do it as often as you can. Write about somebody else or even write about a fictional character. Just do it. You'll come across more words you want to use but you don't know the word. So that's the perfect timing to learn them. So that was today's lesson. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. If you have anything to say, leave us a comment, send us a direct message on Instagram, Follow our Instagram pages, rojust.english, rojust.ielts, and if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to ask us. Thanks for watching. See you later.